Wokeism is the greatest enemy Black America has ever had, outside of slavery itself. There's nothing worse that could happen because you're doing all these things in our name.
Can you believe it? That's right. I'm still here, living inside this tent for 100 days from November the 20th to February 28th, bringing to you the issues and awareness that you need to know about the violence on the south side of Chicago, but also to raise as much money as possible to build a community center on this much needed block called O Block. It's called O Block because it's named after a young man named O.D. Perry who was shot and killed. The gangs took the O in his name and started calling it O Block. Well, we decided we like the O, but we're going to change it to Opportunity Block. I want to thank Fox for giving me the opportunity every single day to bring to you Rooftop Revelations, where I share with you my thoughts, viewpoints, and opinions on matters as it relates to violence in Chicago and issues that impact us across our great country. We're going through a battle over wokeism in America. Most of these debates are taking place in elite circles like academia and corporations and universities. As is usually the case, no one ever comes to communities like ours and asks us how this cultural war affects us. What they never talk to us about what we feel and how we think things are going on and our take on it. And I'm so glad to have with us Shelby Steele to talk about that very issue today. Mr. Steele, thank you for being on the show.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor.
Absolutely. I want to jump right in. I want to ask you a question about this wokeism thing. You know, what do you make about all the wokeism? What is the real story behind the battle? And why do you think these woke folks claim to be helping us? I know that's a lot to unpackage, but if you could just go over it, I would greatly appreciate it.
Well, I'll try and do my best. I think wokeism comes from a larger phenomenon, white guilt. America did, I think, in the mid-60s, the bravest thing any nation I'm aware of in history has ever done, which is to admit that it partook of evil. And it partook of evil for 4 centuries. It wasn't just a quick minute. And that it held on for as long as it really could to that evil of racism and bigotry. Well, you don't then finally come to confess that when you, without there being a consequence. And one of the consequences is that the moral authority of the American democracy was put at risk because of this history of evil that came to the forefront in the 60s. Since that time, white America, understandably, has been trying to reestablish its moral authority, its moral legitimacy. And in order to do that, it has to find ways to demonstrate that it is not guilty any longer of those old evils, those old sins. It's free, and it therefore has moral legitimacy. And our democracy is supported, is a legitimate democracy, and that we're good people and so on. Well, wokeism just simply is the spinning out of that guilt. So today, you know, the President of the United States says he has to appoint to the Supreme Court a Black woman, not an Hispanic woman, not a white woman, that's old hat. He has to now show his innocence of racism by appointing a Black woman. So who the woman is, none of us know. What the qualifications are, none of us. So he, in a sense, he bends the rules in order to look innocent of the past. Well, wokeism is a corruption. It is very specifically, the wokeism is corrupt because it is more interested in retrieving the innocence of white America than it is in the development of Black America. And so we as blacks, even though whites are now saying, look, we do this and we do this and we give you this and we give you that and so forth. And yet we're over here falling farther and farther behind. You claim, the whites claim that they're safe, they're helping us, they're saving us, they've got affirmative action, they've got diversity, they've got inclusion, that you name it. We're falling farther and farther and farther behind. Black family today is shattered from its dependency on white guilt and on wokeism. Wokeism is the greatest enemy Black America has ever had, outside of slavery itself. There's nothing worse that could happen, because you're doing all these things in our name. And when you look at the advertising and corporations of universities, safe spaces for Black students, affiliated dormitory. I mean, it's tragic that we're just consumed, white America is just consumed with this idea, this need to be innocent of racism. There's no way you can change what happened in the past. My father was injured by it. I was injured by it. There's no way you can fix that. You need to leave us alone at this point. Quote Frederick Douglass, how to help Blacks in America after the Civil War. And his answer was, leave us alone.
Yeah, I agree 100%. You know, I'm hearing many of the principles that you talk about in your books, like hard work and woodshedding and personal responsibility and so on, as being described as vestiges of white supremacy. Why has the left tried so hard to destroy these ideas as vestiges of white supremacy?
Because they don't believe in Black people. They don't believe that we can, they really do in a sense believe we're inferior. And they make public policy around that inferiority. And so they in a sense enable it. They encourage it. The more Blacks can't fail enough for them. The more tragedy and so forth that Blacks have to live with, the more innocent they are, because they can come up with another program, another what I call poetic truth, another series of narratives and stories and lies that reflect their innocence and how pitiful we are. What liberals will not do is stand toe to toe with a Black person and say, why don't you take responsibility for yourself?
Yeah. You know, Mr. Steele, I want to ask you a question. Why is it then that, why are you so passionate, and why do you believe in these American principles so much?
Because I'm an American. Deep in my heart, I'm an American. And I believe America the American democracy is the best conception for a society imaginable, that we represent a step forward in human evolution. The idea of the individual being able to, being a citizen and responsible for in a democratic society, as opposed to autocracies and so forth, is a beautiful, beautiful thing, and is the best road for all of us. The catch is, you have to take responsibility for yourself. That ethic prevails all across America. White, Black, otherwise. Responsibility is freedom.
Yeah. You know, Mr. Joe, I want to ask you this last question. You know, when we think about wokeism, do you think wokeism, if successful, will finish off the job of post-60s liberalism? Will it be the death of us?
That word is not too strong. It's killing us now. It's killing us now. I say every day, I hope that whites somehow begin to get the message, begin to stop this notion that your benevolence, your virtue signaling is somehow going to help Black America achieve equality in American life. The opposite is true. It's going to keep us down. You reduce the standards everywhere Blacks appear to want to enter society. You reduce the standards, thereby saying, we have no faith in you. You're inferior. We'll suspend the SAT exam in universities. We won't count it anymore because blacks don't do well on it. What? No segregationist insulted me more than that. It is a sense that we're just a pity case that whites will always have to drag along behind it. And there's no way around that. There's no way you can, whether you like me or whether you don't, there's no way you can dance around that. We either stand up like men and women and take our place in this world, or we don't.
Absolutely. Well, Mr. Steele, as always, it's been a tremendous blessing to have you on. You are a blessing to America and a tremendous blessing to my life. And I want to thank you personally for sharing your thoughts and viewpoints and opinions and being so passionate about Black conservatism and sharing it with the world. Thank you so much.
Well, double that back at you. Thank you so much for everything you do. You have a special place in God's eye. I can tell you that. You're a good man.
Thank you so much. Thank you. As always, I want to say thank you to Eli Steele for producing our show. Thank you to Terrell for filming it in this cold, cold weather. And my gratitude and applause cannot go out enough to Fox for giving me this platform every single day to bring to you Rooftop Revelations. I am extremely thankful and grateful for this opportunity. And as I always say, God bless you. God bless America. Thank you for another Rooftop Revelation. And until tomorrow, peace.